Is it rational to believe in the world? Solipsists would have you think it is not, but what reason do you have to accept reality? Consider first what we do know with complete certainty. You, or I, exist. Even if we do not know the nature of our existence, we know that we exist somehow. Cogito ergo sum, I think therefore I am. We also know that there is something, call it a world, that is such that we detect a sensory input, even if it is just electrons firing in our brain. Now, consider the set of all possible worlds that could be creating this sensory input. The proposition that this world exists, as indicated by our senses, and nothing else, is the only proposition that is distinctly indicated. It also makes no further assumptions about the nature of the world. This world is distinctly indicated by our senses since they indicate this world, and only this world. There is no suggestion of any other world that is causing the input, such as an alien ship keeping our brain in a vat. There are two possibilities: this world is real, or what we would conventionally term as real, or it is not. If it is not, then our senses are portraying what may be called an illusion. Were this world an illusion, then, if it were not quite a perfect illusion, we would be able to detect persistent imperfections in its fabric. The less perfect the illusion, and the more input we receive, the more likely it is that we would be able to detect a flaw. For example, if we were actually in a hollow room, we might walk into the wall. The Truman Show illustrates this point very well, and is also a film that I recommend watching. Since we all attest to the lack of such flaws in the world, if this world were an illusion, it would have to be a perfect, or a rather good illusion. This means that we have narrowed the set of our possible worlds to either the world as we know it, or a perfect, or very good, illusion, in the broadest sense of the term illusion. Upon receiving evidence, the greatest effort must be devoted to assessing its worth. Any and all counter-propositions to what our senses indicate are weak. This is because they are either unfalsifiable, in the case of a perfect illusion, or the observations made by our senses do not align with what is predicted, as is the case with a flawed illusion. Conversely, the proposition of this world's existence is strong. The senses distinctly indicate it, they interdependently confirm each other. The proposition is falsifiable, predictive, and so on. Given this, it may be reasonable to say that the world exists as indicated by our senses. At this point, an analogy can be made. Assume, for the sake of argument, that the world is real. If you take a proposition that is greatly evidenced, such as evolution, then there is the possibility that all the evidence that indicates evolution is actually just a trick. It may have been put there by the devil in order to fool you. Similarly, there is a great extent of evidence that indicates how stars form and die. This evidence may be an illusion generated by the galactic star pixels that send flashes of light and neutrinos out into space when we think a star should go supernova. I would say if these scientific propositions are reasonable to believe, then it is also reasonable to believe that this world exists. In addition, nothing more is assumed about the nature of the world, and this bodes to the proposition's strength, because as more and more assumptions are made, the indeterminate probability of each assumption being true cumulates. This makes a proposition ever more unlikely to be true in its entirety, as more assumptions are added to it. The last point to consider is the matter of practicality. There is a tangible benefit to acting as though the world were real. We experience a number of positive things, such as good food and pleasant music, from the axiom that this world is real. Discovering that the world is not real does not have any foreseeable negative consequences. In acting as the world were not real, however, we stand to lose said benefits. From this basis, we can determine features of our world based on evidence and reason. Though it is true that we cannot be in any way certain, we can sensibly believe that the world exists. What do you think?